What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm Howard Bender. Oh, look at that. It was intercepted by mini Kevin Millar.
Can you tell it's Friday night? I don't know.
Oh, baby. I can tell it's Friday night, right? Welcome in, everybody. Howard Bender here. Craig Mish, of course. It's Friday. It's time to pick those games. What's up, Craig? How are you? Aside from the fact you're feeling a little ornery today.
Ornery? I don't know. I think I'm good. It's been a good week. We're coming to the end of the week. It's time for us to give our picks in the Golden Nugget and the Super Contest for the first time all year. 5 picks in college football. I'm tired of going 2-2. I'm like the Jeff Fisher of picking in the Super Contest. Tired of it. Not gonna
Wow.
Yeah.
The Jeff Fisher, that really does not say a lot, man.
8-8.
Dude, Jeff Fisher wishes he could be 8-8.
So I feel really good about the college games. I feel good about the pro games too, but I feel good. Like this, we're going into this. I think we're gonna have a good record this week.
All right.
I like
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, let's start it off here. Let's talk about the college games that we are picking. I'm gonna start off number 1 with Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's an interesting one here. Like, excuse me, Baylor getting 5.5 points here against Oklahoma. Baylor took a terrible loss last week to TCU, which we capitalized on, obviously, after TCU did that. But, going up against Oklahoma, who I think it was the Texas Tech firing of their coach, was going up against Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma slapped us silly here. But talk to me here. Why are we on Baylor getting 5.5?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, at some point, Oklahoma's going to have a letdown game. Now, they have not been good against the spread this season, and everybody knows the story with them at this point, which is we went into the college football season, and they had a quarterback named Spencer Rattler, who, if you read, Howard, the prognostications for the 2022 NFL Draft, Spencer Rattler was either the first or second quarterback taken. So we're talking about like the first pick overall in the NFL Draft, and then the dude gets benched because they just played so horribly, but they somehow won in these games. So they're still undefeated. They put in this freshman, Caleb Williams. He's been great, but they've had a lot of problems in the first halves of these games. They've had to come back and win, especially against Kansas. They played an awful game. They came back and won that one. These games have been relatively close. Oklahoma's won, I think, 6 or 7 in a row, but if you look at the spread, Baylor's covered a bunch of these too. The game is in Waco. You're getting points at home. And, and I think the one thing that Baylor has done, and if you look at all their games this season, is they run a lot. So they tend to slow the clock down, and they tend to make games closer maybe than they would appear. This is also basically a great buy low situation on a team that still has aspirations of winning the one side of their conference. If Baylor was to beat Oklahoma, they would stay alive in that quest for the Big 12. If they lose, it's done. And if they had beaten TCU and beaten Oklahoma, they'd be the favorite in the Big 12. The favorite to win the Big 12. So, I mean, how far have we come in just 1 week? I don't think that far. Take Baylor plus 5.5 this week.
All right, Baylor plus 5.5. It is. Next game that we're taking, it's 2 teams that are trending in definite opposite directions right now. Central Florida heading into SMU. Central Florida is getting 7, and we're on the side of Central Florida. They've won 3 straight. Meanwhile, SMU has now lost 2 straight, including a really just an ugly loss to Memphis last week.
Yeah, UCF seems to have turned it around. They're winning. They're winning games against the spread. Their quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, who looked really rough at the beginning of the season. UCF doesn't really throw that much. They run a lot of like the old Georgia Tech sort of triple option, really successfully, by the way, too. They, a couple of years ago, there were jokes about them. They should have won the national championship. They went undefeated. Look, this is not the Central Florida from 2 years ago, but they're also not that bad either. They also play really good defense, very good pass defense in their conference this season. And I think that SMU is really not who we thought they were when they started off undefeated. In fact, one of their games where they ended up, I think when they started 7-0, they had lost a couple. Their 7th win was like some crazy overtime kick return win to even get them to that point. So it's really 3 games in a row that they haven't played all that well. So I think this is a closer game than the spread will indicate. and SMU only has one win in the past month by more than just one score. So this tells you that the game is probably going to be close, and you're getting a touchdown, and you're sort of like expecting a little mayhem in this game. Probably a high-scoring game, maybe 41-38, something along those lines. I think UCF has a chance to win the game outright, but more likely it's a 1-point deal, a cover of some kind. So we're going to take the points here.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Next one we're going after, Middle Tennessee State taking on Florida International. Now, this is not, hey, I love Middle Tennessee State. I think this is more like, ew, Florida International?
Yeah.
So picking against them, we're laying 10, though. Laying 10, Craig.
Yeah, I don't know what the record is against the spread with team presidents that leave or get fired, because that's what happened this week at FIU. But we're not going to go that route. This guy's name was Pete Garcia, and he hired Isaiah Thomas to be their coach. Like this guy Pete Garcia has just respectfully speaking, is not very well liked. Probably, I guess if you asked boosters and if you asked people in South Florida about him, they would say he didn't do a good job. Howard, he brought in former University of Miami head coach, former Cleveland Browns head coach, former North Carolina head coach Butch Davis to turn the program around, and this is one of the worst college football seasons that they've ever had. And they're 1-8. They're only 2-7 against the spread. I think they're dead last in defense. They're giving up like 500 yards a game or 400 yards a game, and their season is over. And I just don't think that they're playing for anything at this point. Now, Middle Tennessee is not great. Like, this is not a team that, I mean, they still with a win can be bowl eligible. So I suppose that's what they're playing for, is one of those when we do our bowl game show, Howard. And by the way, wow, first mention of that. I guess that's getting close, huh?
It is getting close, right?
We do our
41 bowls in 40 minutes.
Bowl. We do every bowl on these streams, right? We do all 40. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be crazy. So so anyway, so Middle Tennessee is not great. They've won 2 out of 3. This is just simply an average team against a terrible one, but I do think that FIU, the Golden Panthers, have packed it in. Unfortunately, they are the worst college football team in the state, and we're going to take Middle Tennessee minus the 10 points and expect a blowout, because FIU is very good at getting blown out this season.
All right. All right, that's 3, right? Yeah, that's 3.
That's a 3.
All right,
Yeah.
Fourth one that we're taking. Here we go. We got a little line flip going on here in our favor, which makes it even better. With the Golden Nugget, when the spread's locked on Wednesday, it was UTEP -1 over North Texas. This line is now flipped. We're taking North Texas. We're getting our 1 point, but they're the favorites in this one now.
Back and forth. This line has gone all week. UTEP is a favorite. North Texas is a favorite. I'm not really sure why. I looked at the injury report. I don't see quarterbacks out. I don't see key players out, but it does tell me there's something wacky about this game that I'm not entirely sure. Looking, and that's what I do is usually when, just to, give you a little insight as to what we do, the Golden Nugget picks come out on Wednesday. College football has a lot more variance than pro. So, while I'm looking throughout the week at the lines, what I'm doing is, and I have alerts that when a line moves like 2 points, okay, like let me see what's happening. And this is one that just kept moving all week long. So the only thing that I can really think of is that North Texas has just, opening up as a dog and then being a favorite has just flat out dominated UTEP in the last 5 years. They've beaten them 4 games in a row, 4 years in a row. UTEP has lost 2 straight games. This is also very key, important homecoming in basically a point spread. That's a pick 'em. I always like to take the team that's on the homecoming. So a late homecoming too, by the way, for North Texas. So they have been really bad at home and really good on the road. They are home this time around. I think that they'll take that seriously. For me to break down players and tell you everything that's going on each side, obviously I can't do that. I'm not going to pretend. I just think it's a good spot for a team where the line seems to be fluctuating a lot. So take the plus points. Again, UTEP probably by the time this kicks off tomorrow, favored by what? I can't tell you. Today, in fact, North Texas, UTEP was favored by 1.5 over North Texas. So even after we talked, the line flipped twice back again. So I don't know where it's going to be come kickoff, but I'm going to go with the team that's been hot in this series. It's been North Texas.
All right, fantastic. That's 4 out of 5. The fifth one, here you go. This is where we play the narrative, right? I mean, listen, Marshall has won 3 straight by more than 2 touchdowns in each of those, but This is a big emotional game for Marshall right now, and they are. Well, it's the Nugget has them at -4.5, but the line is actually now -5.5.
Right, yeah. So everybody knows Marshall for, if you're not familiar with college football, for We Are Marshall, the movie that was out a few years ago where they had the tragedy where all their players were killed. And, certainly that's the most important thing to remember here is that it was just a sad time for that program. They basically had to shut things down for a bit. But once a year, and even more so, this is the 75th anniversary of that happening, and they are, Howard, honoring all of the families and all of the people involved from that are still around. And you can only imagine what the emotions are going to be like. They're wearing all black jerseys in this game. We like a good narrative here. I don't know that there'd be any better than one like this, and I don't think that has anything to do with the line move. As you mentioned, Marshall is up to 5.5. But they have been arguably the hottest team in college football. They've won 4 straight games, and 3 of the last 4 they've won by 14 points or more. So UAB is like a sneaky team. They sometimes win games like this, but I gotta believe they're really up against it. And we're gonna play that narrative card along with the line move, which again I looked into this, couldn't figure out why we would get value here on this, but I didn't know about the story going into the week 2. So that's it. So Marshall, North Texas, Central Florida, Baylor, and who did I miss? What was the other one?
Middle Tennessee State.
Middle Tennessee State. So 5 picks against the spread here. Let's go 5-0 in college. Ready to do it.
Let's do it. Let's go 7-0 in the Nugget here, and let's talk about the first pro game that we're looking at. And again, this is a game that you and I cited immediately on Tuesday when we did our live stream, and we kind of hunt for those fishy lines. And here we are. It's Saints against the Titans.
Yeah.
It's Titans -2.5 is where
even less. How about that, right?
What's that?
This line's even going down too. It's
bizarre.
It's a weird
well,
one.
because Alvin Kamara is out, 100% out. He was declared out today.
Right.
So you've got Trevor Siemian, right, as your quarterback. You have Mark Ingram as your star running back. You don't have any wide receivers at all.
No.
Right? But you got a hell of a defense. Hell of a defense in New Orleans. Tennessee, I mean, come on. They just destroyed the Rams in a primetime game, so everybody sees it. All right. No, they did it without Derrick Henry, which means obviously they're a fantastic team. So why, we've been saying this since Tuesday, why is this line only 2.5? It makes no sense. And it didn't move at all, except for Wednesday when we got +3 with the Saints. So that is our first pick.
Yeah. Also, this fits into the thing that's been covering pretty good this year, which is a team that didn't cover versus a team that did cover, and taking that side. Look, if Alvin Kamara was that important to the Saints, why wouldn't Tennessee be now -3.5? Like, I mean, it feels like Tennessee may be one of the most public picks of the year. I gotta say, this is just screaming. This is screaming Saints, and I'm not a Saints fan. I don't think they're very good, but very good. I mean, they're obviously going to beat Tennessee. I mean, there's no other way. That's the only thing I can think of this week. And by the way, if Tennessee was 5.5, I probably wouldn't be interested in this, because I'd be like, all right, yeah, it makes sense. But the line is telling you where it should be at.
The line is definitely telling you where it's at. No doubt about it. All right. The other game that we're looking at is it's our good old friends, the Los Angeles Chargers. Home favorite, 3 points, Minnesota. Minnesota's been playing a lot of close, tough games here. Comes down to a final field goal. We've seen that a bunch. We know what happens with the Chargers. Whenever they're a favorite and we take them at home, it never works out. Didn't work out when they were favored by 1.5. What makes us think it's going to work out here at 3? And so, listen, as much as I love the Chargers, and I do love the Chargers, I think I got the Chargers. When I saw it was 40-1 to win the Super Bowl, I threw money on that. Yeah. Because I loved what they were doing in the offseason. And the second half of the season, their travel schedule is super soft also. They've had to make 3 cross-country trips to start things off. But now, here they are. They're at home. They're favored by Minnesota, and we're taking Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't cover against New England as a small favorite. Look, the Chargers are, you're right, they're probably pretty good. And in a pick'em game where they're getting points, you're probably interested. But look, Minnesota continues to be a really good buy low. Minnesota's obviously good, okay? I mean, I know that the head coach is taking a lot of heat. They're talking about firing and everything else, and Kirk Cousins. But I mean, they've played 8 or 9 games, and every single one that they've lost has been like within a point or two. So I mean, come on, that's just variance. That's not a bad team. That's bad luck. So I think Minnesota has a great shot to win this game, and in all likelihood, it'll be the fourth quarter. There'll be 2 minutes left, and as long as Minnesota's got the ball, I think we got a good chance to win. But at the very least, we're getting three. I mean, I cannot see the Chargers winning by more than 3 in this game. So. Yeah, we'll just keep riding Minnesota as long as they're getting points.
Sure. Why not? Or going against the Chargers as well.
Or going against the Chargers, true.
All right, so those are our 7 picks for the Golden Nugget. Again, Baylor, Central Florida, Marshall, Middle Tennessee State, North Texas, New Orleans Saints, and the Minnesota Vikings. For the Westgate Super Contest, we are going to double down on both the Saints and the Vikings. They're +3 in both contests. And then let's talk about the other games that we're going to go with. How about the one favorite that we're going to take in the NFL, right? The only one favorite, and that's the Colts going up against the Jaguars. Divisional game, but I mean, to me, the Colts look real deal. I love Wentz, Taylor, Michael Pittman. They're getting T.Y. Hilton back. They've got a good tandem of tight ends. I love their front 7 on defense. And it's going up against the Jags, who coming off a big emotional victory last week, that they're just, I could see them just getting so blown out in this one that how do you not take the Colts here and lay the 10 points?
And I think by blowout, I mean like 26-10. Like I don't think this is going to be a really high scoring game. But when you're laying points in the NFL and it's not advised, and again, we're taking 4 underdogs out of 5 here. Okay? Like we're taking 4. If you're going to take a big favorite, Howard, you know my rule. You got to have a running game. You have to be able to run the ball. Kansas City does not. That was a great example of a team. They're up 13 points. They could not put the game away against the spread laying points. Indianapolis can run. Cleveland can run. So when you're up big, and there's 6 minutes to go, yes, the back door is going to be open for Jacksonville, but they'll just keep giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor, and on first down he'll get 4, and on second down he'll get 3, and on third down he'll get 4, and then 2 minutes are gone, and then 2 minutes are gone, and then this is how a big favorite covers in the NFL. These teams that are just so high-powered that they're going to outscore you, of course, there's anomalies. I mean, there's the Buccaneers, yes. Like, there's some teams that are going to be able to do that, but in general, you want a team that that is up 10 or you're laying 13 points, they have the ball at the end of the game. NFL teams are so close to one another these days. Jacksonville just beat Buffalo. So the score is 26-10, and Jacksonville has the ball at the end of the game, and there's 4 minutes left. The back door is open. They score a touchdown. You lose. In this case, don't give the ball back to the other team. Hand the ball off. Indy will do that, and that's why they're the only team that I could do this with. And yes, you're right. Jacksonville sort of, you would think, got their win last week and still couldn't score against Buffalo. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So Colts -10, Saints and Vikings each +3. Let's talk about Philadelphia going into Denver.
Love this one too.
We got burned by the Eagles last week, right? I mean, it was Eagles against, was it Detroit? Oh, no. That's right. We were going Detroit against the Eagles.
Yeah, that was bad.
The Eagles, let us down. That wasn't last week. It was the week before.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Either way, Eagles, Denver. I hate Denver. You hate Denver.
I hate Denver. Denver should not be a favorite over any team in the NFL. Period. Never.
But they beat the Cowboys.
The Eagles are better than Denver. They're definitely better than them. There's no question about it. I have no doubt that the Eagles are a better team. Look, Denver had a fantastic defensive game plan against Dallas. Can they catch lightning in a bottle twice? I mean, I guess, but look, Philadelphia now has become interesting again for me, sort of like New England in the AFC. I mean, Philadelphia, I mean, if they win this game and beat up on the Giants and Washington again, I mean, Philadelphia could be 9-8 and in the playoffs. It's not impossible. So anyway, I'm not a Denver believer. And although last week I did like Denver and the points, I did think that was a good play, only because Dallas is horrible.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's not that you like Denver; it's that you don't like Dallas as a favorite at home by more than 7 points.
Never. So
why aren't we taking the Falcons this week?
Yeah, I struggled with this one a lot. Just from everything that I went through, it seems like this may be a bad spot for Atlanta. And I like Atlanta. I think they're underrated. But the line also tells you, like, sort of like, think about it. At the end of the season, Dallas is a favorite of 7 points or more. If they win this game, they're still only 50%. It's still not great. So, I don't know. I kind of got talked out of it. I talked myself out of it. I like Philadelphia better in this spot.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Philadelphia, no doubt about it. Yeah, listen, I think, when it comes to Dallas and Atlanta, I mean, listen, big 54.5 over under right
Huge
now.
Line, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jumping up big time. But, I think that one of those things that, everybody's looking at the way Denver beat Dallas and it was, in Dallas, and now it's Atlanta coming into Dallas and it's a big point spread again. And people are just like, I'll just take the points and take the visiting team. Obviously that's working against Dallas. And then Dallas opens up like a big can of whoop ass or something like that.
Yeah, my concern, it's not even that with Dallas. My concern is with Atlanta in particular. If you've noticed, even with Arthur Smith as the head coach, very conservative, running down the clock, a lot of Patterson, Pitts. And what would happen in this game if the score was 17-3 at the half? I'd be really worried that Atlanta becoming one-dimensional would have a chance to keep it close. That's my only concern. If I had to take one side, it would be Atlanta, but not one of my 5 favorites this week.
All right. Well, so far our 4 favorites are the Colts, the Saints, the Vikings, the Eagles. And here we go, 5th pick. We're going to Sunday Night Football. We're taking a team that has actually kind of been good to us.
Pretty good.
Right?
Pretty good. Shockingly.
Pretty good. That's right. We're taking the Las Vegas Raiders, getting 2.5 points. Why? Because the Chiefs can't cover.
No. I just think that this is a huge indictment on Kansas City. That was a stunning game to watch against Green Bay. I mean, I watch every game on Sunday. I try to. And I'm not just Red Zone. Like, I try to watch as much as I can of the actual games. I can't believe, Howard, what the Chiefs' offense has become. Like, why? I have no explanation for it. It is so strange that a team that was putting up 30s and 40s for 2 years in a row can't even get first downs. And so what's interesting is that there still are some people out there that say, well, if they're going to do it, this is the week. I mean, we've been saying that how many weeks in a row already?
Right, all season.
The Giants game, they barely won that. The Packers, I mean, the Packers had no business covering that game, but the Kansas City couldn't control the ball. Like, they were like, first down, second down, third, okay, punt. Like, they gave that back door open. And he throws that pass to Lazard. He's like falling all over the place. The guy falls down, the defender on Kansas City. I mean, come on. I mean, that was a bad luck loss. But, Raiders, this should be a great environment for them, I would think. The Raiders really should have smashed the Giants last week. And I mean, look, Carr, he has those games where he makes monster mistakes, and that's what he did last week. But I think the Raiders are going to come out on top. By the way, they don't even have to win. We're getting points here. So they lose by 1, we still win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love it, man. 4 dogs, 1 favorite. And then over in the Nugget, right? 2 favorites and 5 dogs.
It's just what's happening in the NFL, and college is a little bit more even, but
sure.
It just shows you, I think, first of all, it is a week-to-week league, and then the other thing that it shows you is that the talent disparity from the best team to the worst team, it really isn't that much. I mean, maybe outside of Houston, but beyond that, every team is probably 11 on offense. And the other team's 11 on offense. They probably have 6 or 7 guys that are exactly the same. It's just a difference of a couple, and it's a difference of a couple plays in every game too. So, yeah, it's really taught me a good lesson, which is just stick with what you know and don't go away from it. And Thursday night was a really good example of that. We talked about it here too. It's like, well,
man,
got to take Miami. I mean, looks terrible, but dogs are covering like crazy at 7 points. Oh, Jacoby Brissett, yuck. Well, fine. We just got to take Miami and just suck it up. And I think you have to have that attitude until proven different. Until these lines come down on some of these teams, you have to keep pounding these underdogs.
Listen, I got no problem with it. No problem, right? Stick to the plan and work. Where have we failed when we've moved off the plan and we've taken a couple of favorites?
I don't think any favorite that we've taken this year, I don't even remember a good favorite that we've hit on this year. Like, I remember every underdog that we hit, but the favorites, it's like, oh, they let us down like every time.
Any games out there that you couldn't talk me into that you really liked?
Monday night, I think I would take look, the Monday night thing is working, so I probably would go back to San Francisco. The line is sort of another like freaky line there too. Like, why are the Rams only -4, 3.5? San Francisco coming in at their lowest point by far of the season, losing to Colt McCoy without Hopkins. Will they get up for this game and play a close division game? My guess is yes. Rams probably win, but like by 1 or something along those lines. That was really the only one I think extra that I looked at. I don't know. Was there another one that you liked at all, or I don't know?
No, not really. I was looking at that one too. I even said, do we go with the Monday night dog here, or does the influx of OBJ like all of a sudden like mean the Rams are rejuvenated and we get off of that one? But I mean, I wouldn't have put that game ahead of the Saints. I'm not even putting it ahead of the Colts as the favorite there.
Sure. What's interesting, I talked about this today on my show, and it has nothing to do with this game in particular between Seattle and Green Bay. But Howard, what I can't figure out is, and I understand that during the baseball season in 2020, when the Marlins had their outbreak of COVID and the Cardinals had theirs, and and all that was going on, like, Howard, those guys that were unvaccinated at that time, there was no vaccination. They were when they were non-vaccinated and they got COVID. Freddie Freeman, Howard, these guys were out like weeks, man. Like, they were out a long time. And Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden is just going to play Sunday? Like, I guess so. But I did have a little temptation of saying, you know what? If this dude doesn't play, you're getting the line of a lifetime here with Seattle. Yeah. But then again, Kansas City showed us last week maybe there is no line of a lifetime. But I just found that fascinating because I know what the Marlins went through and how hard it was for them to test negative after they got COVID. And here we are with Aaron Rodgers 10 days out. Boom, back in the game, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I've been looking through that also. I was even, I think our friend Bob Harris from the Football Diehards was talking about the fact that, he doesn't need to get tested on the regular, or he's whatever's going on right now with Aaron Rodgers is that he's going to be fine to play. I guess what? Because he got COVID, he's out of the window now. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, does he if he still is positive, can he play in this game Sunday? Is that possible? Because I can't think of a single Marlins player that within 10 days got negative tested and was done and out of the woods. I can't think of any, and I covered that thing. And St. Louis went through the same thing. Yeah. So I guess the NFL is just treating it differently, but I find it fascinating there hasn't been a single reporter to bring up that Freddie Freeman got COVID. He was really sick, and he missed, a month of time? Like, we're close to it. So...
Yeah, but that was all preseason, right? Didn't he win the MVP that year, too?
He did, but he was gone for like a while, like a long time, like weeks.
Oh yeah, he was out. I mean, his wife said that she's never seen him in all the years that she's known him. She's never seen him as sick as he was.
Right. And again, I'm not trying to push Aaron Rodgers out of the game. Whatever he chooses to do, that's his business. I just think it's not just him, by the way. It just seems so strange that the NFL guys this year, the ones that have gotten it, that were unvaccinated, sort of made it back pretty quick. And somehow the baseball players did not. And again, maybe they were more careful at that time or whatever. I just don't know what the rules are. I don't know. Like, I find it hard to believe that without testing negative that Aaron Rodgers can play Sunday, but maybe he can. I don't know the rules.
I don't know him either. Sorry.
Anyway,
would have been nice. I'll tell you what. You know what? We'll wait and see. I'll tell you this. Let's pick one of these games because these picks do not. The Super Contest, the Golden Nugget picks are already in.
Right.
All right.
Seattle.
With regard to the Super Contest,
we find out, Howard, if we find out that Aaron Rodgers is not playing Sunday, we are obligated to take Seattle, even though we've already lost 2 of these quarterback shifty games. We have to do it again.
Which game do we punt? I figure it's either Eagles or Raiders.
Probably the Raiders.
Yeah,
probably.
Okay.
The Raiders. So Seattle is plus 3.5. Am I right about that, or 4.5?
Seattle is plus 3.5.
Okay, so if Aaron Rodgers is tomorrow, we find out that he's not playing. Seattle is favored in this game, correct?
They will be, yes.
Okay, so what would you make Seattle?
I'd probably, Russell Wilson, cold weather, first game back with the finger. I'd probably say they'd probably be a 2.5 to 3 point lead.
That sounds right. And so we would get Seattle at plus 3.5.
3.5.
We'd have to do that. We would lose. We would have to do that. We'd have to take the points.
Well, again, the Super Contest picks don't have to go in until 4 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday, so we'll wait until close to the last minute there to get those in, and we'll see what's what.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on the Wager Alarm live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember, in December, we'll shift over to Pickswise, so you'll be able to catch us over there as well. Big thanks to Matt Sells, our producer, for always doing a great job. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.